What's up, everybody? Heat414 coming at you again with some more sports talk. Hopefully everybody's doing all right out there. Remember, if you like what you hear, to subscribe. Check me out, Heat414 on YouTube, also Instagram, as well as at the Vault JMU414 on Twitter. Wanted to talk a little bit about Kevin Durant and the injury management of Kevin Durant, or easy money as they call him. Keep in mind when y'all watching this guy not being able to play in these games and you're thinking, oh man, is he soft? Is he weak? Because that's all the hype. That's what people like to throw out at him whenever there's anything that, any hiccup in his career. So make sure you pay attention to the business side of things. Keep in mind, Kevin Durant being out right now, in my opinion, has nothing to do with Kevin Durant. I'm sure Kevin Durant wants to play, especially through things like a thigh contusion, maybe not the hamstring, but maybe earlier than they kept him out for the length of time they kept him out for the hamstring. But realize when they signed Kevin Durant, they signed him to win championships. They signed him to at very least compete for championships. They went all in on Paul Pierce, Garnett, and them boys back several years back, and now they got a chance to try to go all in again, and they've shown they're willing to spend money with the players they've brought in and the guys they've been willing to pay, especially with their big three. But remember, when they brought in Kevin, it was to compete for chips. Anything less would just be uncivilized. They cannot afford to not be competing for championships and paying this guy money. And when they brought him in, most players that are on his status or level, or I should say, not even the ones on his status, they wouldn't have gotten the deal he got. They wouldn't be in Brooklyn right now. Kevin Durant had a catastrophic Achilles injury, which ends most people's careers. People don't come back from it. Not even the great Kobe Bryant really recovered from it. So you don't usually see that, let alone give guys a max deal right off the injury. Keep in mind, when they got Kevin Durant, they look back at his history, the Brooklyn Nets, they're looking at a guy who, from his fourth year on in OKC, they were a title contender. They were part of that three to five teams that legitimately got a shot to win 4 out of 7 games all the way to the playoffs, all the way to the championship, rather. We went to Golden State. They were unstoppable. We know this. We see what's happening in Brooklyn. They need, in order to make sure that their investment was worth it, see him in the playoffs playing and not risk anything that's going to jeopardize that. So they brought this man over in 2019 coming off a career-ending injury and gave him a 4-year max contract. On top of that, knowing he was going to have to rehab for a whole year, the team still gave him the max contract and paid him 1 year just to rehab. Most players don't get this. Maybe a LeBron James or a Steph Curry would have been able to get this type of deal. But for the most part, guys don't get this, not knowing they're about to sit out for the whole year. And then they gave him a player option on the back end. So they really only got Kevin for the next 2 years, this year and next. And if they don't capitalize on it, if he's not playing in playoff basketball, competing for a championship, or if he's playing but he's hobbled or not as effective as he could be because they played him in games they could have really sat him in the regular season if they wanted to, then they're not going to be able to look at themselves and feel like they truly saw what they could get out of their investment. Now, if he's completely healthy and he plays in the playoffs and they get beat, they can look at him, Kyrie, and James and say, y'all ain't good enough. Y'all didn't get it done. Y'all didn't pick up the players around you, make them better, and carry us to this title. That's what we're paying you for. And they also, in the playoffs, if he gets a thigh contusion or something minor, a slight sprain of the ankle or something, they can say, you got to play through this because this is what we're paying you for. This is money time. You're supposed to be the money man. But right now in the regular season, oh no, especially not when they got Steve Nash now, who's been around Kevin, who is friends with Kevin, who was there in Golden State and saw how there were some outside pressures that helped to push him on that floor in Golden State, even though he wanted to play. But remember, the medical team and staff, they got to protect the players from themselves. Any true competitor wants to be out there if they can walk, especially if they're playing against a team that's a good team or a player that they really want to get at, or maybe has already gotten at them a few weeks ago or months ago. So trust me, Kevin more than likely wants to play. The team is playing it smart and keeping him out, which is what they should do. Holla at your boy.